welcome to another session of the LTC webinar series. My name is Brian Bates. I'm the Director of Professional Learning for the LTC, and I'm joined today by Mindy Fiscus, who is the Digital Access Coordinator here at the LTC. Before I turn it over to Mindy, just a couple quick reminders before we get started. First, we are recording this webinar, and it'll be available on our website to watch later at ltcillinois.org/events/webinars. Scroll down under the on-demand section and you'll find the recording a little later on this afternoon. Also, if you'd like to interact and ask questions with Mindy, please use the chat feature. Make sure you select to everyone so that way not just the panelists, not just Mindy, but also the other fellow attendees can see that. That way everybody can see your question. We all know and can kind of follow along with what's going on. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mindy. So whenever you're ready, Mindy, feel free to take over the screen.
Okay, so welcome to the ERate Essentials LTC webinar series for 2021. My name is Mindy Fiscus, and I am the Learning Technology Center Digital Access Coordinator. As part of that role, I am your state ERate coordinator, one of two. Eric Grocke at the State Board of Education is our other one. It is my job to hands-on help you through the ERate process and adventure together. I also work heavily with our classroom connectivity project in Illinois, connecting school districts to broadband internet services and helping support that initiative, as well as I am the Illinois State Education Technology Directors Association, or SETDA, member for the state of Illinois, as well as one of their board members. And I participate in the State ERate Coordinators Alliance. So my job is basically to support ERate and any other federal program, and I am happy to spend a few minutes with you guys today. See right there. Okay, there we go. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about today before we get into our 470 demo is the newest thing that everyone is talking about, which is Category 2 budgets for this year. Notice that it is the opportunity to act now or plan ahead. The Category 2 budgets are designed to be 5-year budgets. And just exactly how much money do you get? That is a great question. So USAC has put up a new digital tool that will help you go in and look up your district and find out how much money is there. You can find that by going to the USAC site and searching Cat 2 tools at the top. Please make sure you're looking at the one for FY21, which is our application process for this year, next school year. And there is a tool that we can use. We will have a webinar coming up next in the series that will cover Category 2 budgets, as well as updating your district information in the admin window of the platform. But I will try to get through that quickly within the EPC demo today as well, with the updates of student counts. It is important that your student counts are active and correct in the system because that's how they will figure your budget. So it is now a district level budget. For those of you who participated in the pilot, you may remember this was building by building. It is now district level, which is a plus. And you can figure that by calculating $167 per student if you are a school, $4.50 per square foot for libraries. So with one caveat, if you have less than 150 kids in a building, that building is worth $25,000. So for school districts that have 11 or less schools, they can choose the minimum, however many district buildings they have times 25, or however many students they have times 167. It's a default for all of their buildings. For those of you who have less than 11 schools, you can do a kind of a hybrid model and figure what will give you the most money. And I have an example of that on the next slide. So it is based on the student count in the EPC portal, and I will show you here in a bit where to update those counts. Districts are still responsible for their non-discounted amount, and you'll see that in my example. So this is an example, Clay City School District, Unit 10. So thank you for Clay City for being our example today. They have 3 buildings in their district, one of which has 51 students. So you can see if we did the math there, they would get $8,000, $8,517 for that building. And so, or they can take the minimum, which is considerably higher. Same thing for the junior high. And you can see the Clay City Elementary total per student total is higher than the 25. Because this district has less than 11 buildings, they can do a hybrid of the both modes. And so it's 25,000 plus 25,000 for those that are our smaller schools, plus the 32,000 for the one that is above. So of this budget for category 2, E-rate would pay 80%. They are an 80% discount school. E-rate would pay 80%. Clay City would pay 16,523. And so you do still have to take your discount on this. This is a pre-discount budget, and this budget is meant to last you for 5 years. So you can get together as a district and decide, hey, I want to refresh everything this year, get right out there and replace all of your wireless access points and wiring and routers and switches all in 1 year, and then have no money for the next 4. Or you could break that up however you want each year for 5 years. So you do have some options for how to spend those funds, but I wanted to make sure that as we're moving into the 470, that you know that there will be available funding and that our 470 is a wish list for these items. So even if you want to put everything out this year and find out how much all of those products would be, and then make some decisions on how much you want to spend this year versus the next 4, you are welcome to do that. That is what our 470 process is for, is to give you the information that you need in order to move forward with funding. So there may be some more questions on the category 2. And if you see anything about that go ahead and throw that in the chat, and then Brian can ask those questions when we get back. But I'm going to jump right into the demo for you guys so that we can take a look at the EPC portal. Brian, can you please confirm that you can see the My Applicant landing page?
I see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so a big thank you goes out to Hudsonville School District to allow me to log in as they're being our example today on the recorded session. I'm here in as Hudsonville School District, and this is the main landing page. For those of you who are visiting the EPC for the first time, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can take a look at last year's 470 form by selecting 470 and 2020. And they didn't file one last year because they were in contract. So there we go, 2019. And you can take a look at previous forms in that fashion. So if you see the notes to coming to one of my workshops that I'll talk about later, and I've suggested that you bring a previous form 470 to use as a guide, that's how you would go about collecting that information. So good little resource down here at the bottom of the page to see where you are on various forms. You'll note here in the middle that Hudsonville actually has 2 buildings within their district, a grade school and a high school. So we've got the district entity that is listed here, plus each one of the buildings. Even if you are a single school district, most people see a district listing with a building listing underneath. There are a few school districts in our states that are considered individual school building districts. They are in as one entity, but most people see the district and then the building underneath. So that is what we are looking at there. And if you have any comments or questions here in customer support cases, those are just supports that you can see there, any interaction that you're having conversations with USAC directly. I'm going to come back up here to the top and point out that up in the upper right-hand corner of our landing page, we can do just about everything that we want to do right up here in a shortcut link. So many of these shortcuts are already here. Today's Form 470 demo will take place from here. This is also where we'll access the 471. If anyone has received a notification from ISB that you have missed your deadline for the 486, that form is accessible right here. I also have step-by-step walkthrough that I can provide for you on what to check and not check on that form. So if you're in that situation, let me know and I'd be happy to help you out. There's also the form 500 appeals, service substitution, spin changes, and all kinds of fun things. I'm now speaking E-rate and not English, so I will digress and go back to the form. One of the things that we do as a practice in our 470 session is update our student counts. So I'm going to show you how to do that just here really quick. I'm going to scroll down to the district name and choose the district name to show you what that looks like this year in the platform. So here I am in the district name, and I have all of this information here about my school district. Please note, there is a new question on the district page that says, how does this district report its student count for category 2? My choices are one number for the whole district or a number for each school in the district. This is an indicator that I'm choosing that $25,000 option, or I'm just adding up all of my student counts. If I add up all of my student counts, I would use the total here, and this is coming from our individual school pages. So that would be the 167 times 305 if I choose one student count for my whole district. In order to make that change, you have to come to the top and click Manage Organization. There we go. And it makes it editable, and I can come down here and make that selection. Category 2 budget information. One number for the whole district is on the student count, and I can enter the new student count there, or a number for each school in the district. It actually benefits them to stay with each school in this district, so I'm going to leave it there. And then we can come down here and see what the student counts are for each building. So this building at the grade school is going to be above that 150 mark. They are going to get their total from the student count. However, the high school building is less than 150. So they are going to get an added bonus of doing that at the building minimum. So that's why I am making the decision to do it separately up here, a number for each one in the district. Again, we will do a demo of this in another webinar, walk through it, look at the category 2 budget tool, and really take a look at that together. So do visit our next webinar series and or come to one of our workshops, and we will help you hands-on do those changes to your student counts. Again, if I scroll down and pick each individual building, I can come down here to each individual school, click the Manage Organization, and adjust my student counts just like we have in the past as well. I would suggest this year that you go ahead and adjust the student counts on both pages. One just asks you for the full-time students. This new one will ask you how many are full-time students in one window and the number eligible for free and reduced lunch, which figures your discount level here on this one. Speaking of free and reduced lunch, and I'm going to cancel again because I don't want to mess up Hudsonville's records. Speaking of the student counts for free and reduced lunch, I have had a lot of people reach out with some concerns that their student lunch totals will possibly be decreasing this year since everyone is getting free and reduced lunch, and some of your students may not be turning in those forms. That's totally okay. If you find yourself in that situation and you're not really trusting your data for this year and you want to rely on last year's data, USAC and the FCC have said that that is okay. So you can use last year's numbers if you feel more comfortable and more confident in them. If you would like to use those last year's numbers moving forward, that is acceptable in the situation that we're facing right now with the pandemic. So feel free to update your counts if you feel like you have accurate information. If you don't feel confident in that information, last year's numbers are okay to use. Again, please remember sometime before you file your 471 to update these student counts, because that is how we will figure things in the future for our discounts and building level budgets, et cetera, moving forward. That all being said, our 470 is our form that I like to call the wish list, and we are going to enter the 470 form right now and do a quick demo. So when you click on that first link there from the top right of the landing page, you will be entered into the 470 window. First thing to note is there is an auto save. So at any point here, if I exit the window, it is going to save my place here, and it will show up in tasks in the blue bar at the top with a little one next to it. And that's where I will access it if I'm kicked out for some reason, or if I have to pause in between and take a phone call, etc. The first question is the application nickname. You can make this whatever you want. I'm going to call it Practice FY 21-22. Please keep in mind that in our state of Illinois, our fiscal years go with the ending year. This is for next school year, the 21-22 school year. And USAC calls that funding year 21. We start with the first number. But our state calls that fiscal year 22. So I tend to put FY 21-22, and I like to put 470 in the title. But again, this is a name that you will choose for your own. Save and continue will take us to the next screen. And then it just confirms for you, yes, is this your school district that you're applying for? So you can just confirm here, yes, this is Hudsonville's district, and this is their entity number. If you have a consultant attached to your district, that consultant information would appear here. If you have a consultant attached to your district that you are no longer using, please feel free to reach out to me and I can help make those changes with you in your portal. We do have some school districts that are switching consultants this year or are no longer using a consultant. On the other hand, if you are now employing a consultant to do the ERate process for you and you don't see that person here, again, reach out to me and I can help get those linked on the platform for you. It wants to know, are you the main contact person? In this case, Julie Kramer is the main contact person, so I'm going to enter that in. Julie Kramer right there, and it will list her information. Most of you could say yes because you're probably logged in as yourself, but I'm on a guest account that she has there. Next, it will ask you what category of service are you requesting. There are two categories of service in the program, one for internet access, the second for the stuff or the internal connections, the hardware that manages to get that internet out through your building. Some schools still file one 470 for internet access and a separate 470 for their other items. That is totally fine. You can file as many 470s as you would like. For our example today, I'm going to do them both on the same. A lot of our school districts have gone to filing for both their internet access and category 2 on the same 470 for simple forms. It just helps keep the paperwork to a minimum. The next question says, is there an RFP for the services you are requesting? The program requires an RFP only if you are requesting a build of fiber of some kind. However, if you are also rewiring a building or doing anything that is complicated, something that you think needs to provide more detail than what you see here today, you are always welcome to attach an RFP. The RFP does not have to be a legal document. It can just be anything that adds additional information. So a lot of schools will use that option. If you click yes, there's an RFP, it will ask you to upload that RFP. We'll connect it electronically to this form. And when it gets posted on the website, all of the providers who have access to the portal in order to respond to your 470s will be able to see that RFP documentation as well. So if you have an RFP, this is where you attach it. I'm going to say no for our example, and we're going to save and continue. On this page, you will see at the top there is category 1 services. At the bottom, there are category 2 services. So this is all on one page. There is a narrative box for each section, and I'm going to show you how to go about adding new services. So we're going to click on the blue button to add new services, and there's a bunch of definitions down here that you can read about the different types of internet access that you might need. The mass majority of our school districts are applying for a least lit fiber solution. The one option that you have here is for with or without internet access. So this is both least lit fiber from a provider that is a bundled solution, as well as least lit fiber back to our state network, if that's something that you are applying for. So this covers both of those options. How many lines for internet do I need? Well, Hudsonville is a small district with 2 buildings right next to each other. So I'm going to say 1 line back to the district, but it does cover both of those buildings, so 2 entities. Please note, if you are a district with multiple buildings and your district office or bus barn or other non-instructional facility is considered another campus, another building, you really should be adding those to your portal as entities, as well as totaling them here. So if I had these 2 buildings in a separate district office, I would say 3 here instead of 2. And then I would need to go back into my form for adding my entities and maybe put in the support case asking for that different entity to be added. In this case, everything is all on the same campus, and so we don't need to do that. But if you do have that need, you can reach out to me and I can help you walk through that process with USAC. It also asks me what is the minimum and maximum capacity. In this case, I happen to know that the school district does have a 500 megabit connection already, so we're going to stick with their minimum is what they currently have. And the maximum, I'm going to go to 5 gig, and I'll explain why. So the minimum is the 500 they currently have. They have had some strain due to video conferencing services as it relates to COVID. And so they've already put a little bit of an interest out in moving to a 1 gig connection. By putting in a 5 gig connection, if this district signs a multiple year contract as a result of this 470, they will be able to upgrade along the way, all the way up to 5 gigabits without filing a new 470 form. So that is an advantage to putting a range there. It also allows the school district to see the pricing differences between a 1 gigabit and a 5 gigabit, because sometimes as we go higher in our service levels, we actually get a better deal on those connectivity options. I highly encourage it for anyone who finds themselves currently at the 100 megabit or lower connection, to really encourage them to go all the way up to a gig with their bids, so that they can kind of see where that price break is here along the way and make the best solution for the most cost effectiveness of that will meet their needs. It also wants to know, am I seeking installation, activation, or initial configuration? If I am entertaining the idea of getting a whole new provider, I can say, yes, I am seeking that. If you really want to stick with the current provider that you have, you could indicate no, which will limit your options. So that will basically say providers bidding on there. I want service, but anything that it takes you to get to me in the form of a build, etc., I have not applied for ERate for. So I like to tell people to choose yes, just to leave all of their options open to both current providers and other providers that are now entering into the marketplace. Speaking of, we have seen a huge increase in the number of providers that are serving circuits in our state. So I encourage you to just give yourself as many options as possible. As we know, competition tends to drive down costs in the marketplace. So that is how you would apply for a Category 1 service. If you are interested in applying for self-provision fiber, which is district owned, or special circumstances of dark fiber and things like that, please feel free to reach out to me and or attend one of our workshops where we will discuss even more options for this form. Scrolling down here to the narrative, I can say here, district buildings are on one campus and connected through local support. This just indicates to any new providers coming to the marketplace how I'm mentioning 2 entities, but I only have 1 connection. So just letting everyone know that I do have district buildings connected on my own without the ERate support. If I had any more things that I wanted to list here, like a certain kind of needs for the lines, I could add that here. There's not a lot for me to say in this current example. When we have our workshops, people come up with other comments and things that you might be interested in listing here. It wants to know, am I seeking an installment plan for anything that I purchase? Most of the time in our state, we say no. If there is a build to get to the line, there is a special fund I will talk about here in a moment from the state that will that you can leverage to pay for your non-discounted share on a fiber build. So there's not really a need for an installment plan. If and when we deplete those funds, selecting yes would allow you to make those payments for a build over multiple years. Category 2 service requests will allow 3 things: internal connections, which are the items for connectivity, basic maintenance of that internal connection, so maintenance services on individual items, and managed internal broadband services, which is support of your network provided by a third-party provider. I'm going to pick internal connections for our example today. And then it asks me what kind of devices I will be seeking. And so in this example, I am going to go ahead and pick a switches. I am going to tell them I want 2. So you notice I can list the quantities here. Over here, if I have no preference, I can leave no preference, but they really do, the provider side of things, really do appreciate you telling them what you're looking at. So I'm just going to quick pick ubiquity here. And then I'm going to say, yes, I would be interested in installation of this service. If the provider cannot provide installation, I won't see that in the bid. If it's a local person who does provide installation in my area, that is now available for me to ask for funding. So another little option that you might take advantage of. If you know you're going to install it yourself and you have no need for that, you could always select no. So now here you can see on my chart, I have switches. Down in the narrative, I need to give them a little bit more information. So I'm going to say switches. 1 UB for ubiquity. I am totally making up this number, 203, or equivalent. 1 UB 403, or equivalent. Notice I am using the words or equivalent. The program requires that you take into consideration any bids that you receive. This would allow somebody like Cisco to come in and to look up the specs for the UB203 and give me something similar because it is an equivalent product and I would need to evaluate those in my bid. But this does give you the preference for exact model numbers or things that you want to put down here. Again, for all of the rest of the things that I would like to see bids on, I would add new service request and add the rest. The more information that you can provide in the narrative, the better. That just allows them to give you streamlined bills for what you want. If you want support on your network, providing approximate how many hours that is or how many machines that you have in your district would allow somebody to have a better understanding of how big your district is. So if you're looking for maintenance or managed broadband services, you might say 2 buildings, 450 total machines, 17 classrooms, something like that. So they could have an idea of what they were looking at for support of your district. More information you can provide, of course, the better, the more specific the bids that you will get, which will allow you to be able to compare apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. Clicking on save and continue. If you are a bookkeeper, a superintendent, someone in your district who is filling out this form, but not your geeky person who we keep in the closet to manage all of your network, cheers to our geeks. But if you are not a geek filling out this form and you are afraid that somebody will call you with geeky type questions that you cannot answer, you can indicate a geek in the building. So you can either search the EP system or enter those details manually and enter a person's contact information that you could fill that out. In Julie's case, we're going to say no in this example and just click save and continue to the next slide. It wants to know if there are state or local procurement requirements that they also need to take into account. In most of these cases, the answer is no. I have heard some people in the Cook County area say that they did have some local requirements. That was a couple of years ago. So please do go check and see if there are any local county or city requirements that people must need or must meet in your bidding requirements. In most cases, that is no. So I'm going to click on the review form 470. And it says to me, when it is ready, I will generate a PDF for you and you will find that available in the tasks. And then once that PDF is generated, let's kind of click up here in the tasks and see if it's there yet. It will show up here and I will see a little PDF for tasks that I can then go review my PDF and answer the certifications to say that I am eligible for the program and all of the things that I want to say. And it's still thinking. So I'm going to go back to my slide deck. And if we have a chance, we'll come back and go through the certifications as well. So I hope you did enjoy the demo. I am looking here and I don't see anything in the questions and answers or chat. So Brian, stop me if you need to. But I think we have about 10 to 15 minutes left. So I'm going to go on to my other updates. We also have a lot of special Illinois state supports this year, opportunities and options for help. I don't know if you saw my logo at the beginning. This is our ERate Essentials Year of Opportunities, and here are some. We do have access to our Illinois K-12 Broadband Network, or otherwise known as our Illinois Consortium. It is a consortium option for ERate for schools and libraries in our state. And if you would like to participate for the state network consortium, you would need to complete a letter of agency, which is a participation form, and circuit information telling them what you need. This is an ongoing process that started last year. The benefits to participating in the consortium are that the ERate team at the Illinois Century Network and DoIT will file the ERate Form 470 on your behalf and ask for bids for internet access to your district. Those bids are specifically back to the Illinois Century Network, so they would be building or bidding on transport back to the ICN, and you would get your internet access through the ICN as your ISP. So it's kind of a partnership deal there. When they get your bids for your district, they will come back to you and say, we have chosen XYZ vendor to be the transport for your district back to us. Would you like us to move forward with this, or would you like to go on your own? So you will be given the option each year that they bid out for you in order to decide if that's something that you want to take advantage of or not. Signing up does not hurt to you in any way, but it does give them the authority to go out and bid on your behalf. They are going to run these signups until June 30th of each year. So June 30th, whoever they have on file at that June 30th date, they are going to go out and bid for the following school year. So they have already calculated who they have on run for the 21-22 school year. They are now looking for those who are expiring after 21-22 and June 30th of 2022. So each year they will be looking for those bids. If you have missed your opportunity and your contract is not up yet, or your contract expires this year, and this is something that you would like to take advantage of, I would encourage you to find a smaller option of connectivity in your bids. So maybe on your 470, you might say, I am interested in 1 and 3 year options for contracts, so that you could sign a 1-year contract and possibly take advantage of this in the future. Why, you say? Because the consortium not only will file your E-rate for you for connectivity, they will also pay your non-discounted share. So if you are a 80% discount school district, the state of Illinois will pick up your 20% of the charges monthly from this bid. So you will virtually have free internet by signing up. So it is a great option to take a look at, and we will have lots of conversation at our workshops and in our future webinars about this option. They also have their own webinars where they explain the program and the advantages and process. And so please do look at the illinois.net, which is your ICN page. Also, you could reach out to your Regional Technology Center staff that you can access from that page to get more information. In addition to that, another option that we have is a state matching grant. So the state matching grant covers special construction. So if you find that you get a bid for fiber internet access and it requires an installation fee or a build to get to you, that is eligible for E-rate. So if you are a 70% school district, you would have 70% of E-rate pay for that build. In addition to that, you can apply for the state matching grant that would cover you the 30% or the rest of the build. There's actually a special deal going on right now with state matching. So your 70% would get bumped to 80% by the feds, and our state matching grant would cover only 20%. This is definitely a great opportunity for those of you who have struggled to get fiber to your area. It is designed to entice providers to come to rural areas where they have not yet been and help offset the cost of the build for you. We have many school districts who have taken advantage of this grant opportunity. The fund started out in legislation with $17 million in it. It is now down to $12 million, and we have funded nearly 40 school districts on their fiber builds. So we still have $12 million in the pot, and from every indication that we're hearing, those funds will remain until they are depleted. So if this is something that you are interested in as a result of your 470, you see a bid, definitely reach out and we can kind of talk about how you would apply for the state matching grant. The proposed timeline for this year appears that it will be, you would need to file your 470 sometime before the end of our calendar year. So file that 470 within the November, December months. Setting yourself up and looking for those bids to come in. And then I am told that they are stretching out the state matching grant this year, and we're having an expected grant due date in the early spring. So I'm hoping that that will be due in April after our 470, 471 window is over. So we will have applied for our E-rate and we will know our exact dollar amounts of what we need, and we'll turn in that state matching grant form in that time frame. Please do watch the State Board of Education notification for the release of this matching grant, but we really are hoping to see that out anytime here in November. It looks like I have a question. Brian, would you like to read that to me, or should I click on the chat?
I can do it for you. Question, Chris asks, is the consortium just for Cat 1?
Yes, the consortium at this time is just for Cat 1, but that is a great question. I think that maybe in the future we will start looking at Category 2 as an option, but I really think they're trying to get the Cat 1 option underneath themselves first before they adventure into Cat 2.
Awesome. And another question from Susan: if I have already signed a contract for Cat 1 services, do I have to file a 470 this year?
So another great question. You do not unless you want an increase of bandwidth. So many of our school districts took advantage of that increase of bandwidth option as a result of COVID, and you could do that. Please go back to your original 470 and make sure whatever bandwidth you're receiving was listed within that range. If it was not, you should file a 470 this year just to cover that increase. If you are within contract and everything was on that 470 and you're feeling pretty comfortable with it, no need to file a 470 this year unless you want to take advantage of the Category 2. The 471 form is the one that is required every year. The 470 is optional if you are in a contract. Two great questions. This year from the LTC, we are offering some multi-level support. So thank you for attending the webinar today. You can see we have LTC webinars and virtual support options there at the bottom of our triangle. That is where I spend most of my time doing webinars and virtual meetings via Zoom with individual school districts, kind of lining out their plans of action. The next level up is the LTC application workshop that I will address more on the next page, and then some national options this year as well. So our tour, as I like to call it, for our 470, hot off the presses, these are the dates that are available as of today in this webinar. We will be doing a tour this year across the state for the 470 in the month of December. There is a 470 offering in addition to these at the IETC virtual conference. If you are interested in attending and are taking a part of that conference, that is one of the sessions that's being offered this year. If you are not attending IETC, you are welcome to join at any of these events. Please note that the top 3 events have an in-person and a virtual option. So we're going to be doing those hybrid. They are the same place, same time. In other words, we are limited to 12 people at our Champaign location due to COVID restrictions. So the first 12 people who register for the in-person session are welcome to come in person to that. But if we fill up, or if you are more comfortable joining us virtually, we will be dialing into that virtual session via Zoom, and you can attend that session virtually. We'll do the same thing in Belleville and Charleston, but the rest of the sessions are all entirely virtual this year. So starting with our Moline session in 12/9 and moving forward, we will be doing those all as virtual sessions. Because they are virtual sessions, no, you are not restricted to going to the one that is in your area. So you are welcome to attend any of these virtual sessions and register for any of them. However, I did still want to make sure that we were covering the entire state and providing enough opportunity for small group instruction. And so we are going to go ahead and offer these sessions just like we would be traveling through the state. So if you want to hang out virtually with your friends in the Moline area, you're probably going to want to join that 12/9 session on December 9th. And if you want to hang out with your friends from the Carterville area down there and see some people virtually there, you can join that session on the 16th or 17th in Fairfield. So it's just a little bit of an offering regionally, but you are welcome to attend whatever session meets your needs. This is a 3-hour workshop session where we take our time, go through the form, and make sure we're all on the same page and give you some work time to actually complete the form together. So the registration is coming very soon. We got those registration links up and ready yesterday, and we're just needing to load them up to our website. I hope to send out the flyer and registration links by the end of the week. So that's where we are with that. Please note that very last one should say January 1st. It says J12121. That is our last chance option. It was very popular last year for our procrastinators of the group. We will have a last chance 470 workshop in Peoria in January. And then I will be kicking off my sessions for the 471. They're the last week of January and running through February. Right now, it still looks like those will probably be virtual at this point, but I'm going to give it a little bit more time and see where we are come the end of the calendar year. If you are interested in attending a national training, SETDA, the organization that I'm a member of, is doing an online training series. The first 2 sessions happened earlier this month, and there are more sessions designed to take place later here this week. So Thursday will be 2 more sessions. They do 2 sessions a month. They run about 90 minutes in length. They are online webinar series that you can attend. And they are recorded. They're in a really nice platform called Kajabi. If you're interested in attending these are offered at a fee. If you want more information about it, feel free to reach out to me and I will explain. It is people like me from all 50 states presenting together as a national perspective and kind of doing a training nationally. Also, USAC just did their online national training that they provided in a webinar series as well last week. And those training sessions will be recorded and should be available for free on the USAC site. So you can check out their presentations that they normally give in St. Louis or Chicago. Those were done virtually this year and were recorded. So that's available too. If you'd like to stay connected with the LTC, please join our community. And you can see there is a little link there to hover over with your phone and visit that. Our community is a great place to stay connected with those who are like-minded in the ed tech environment. There is an ERate group in our community, so please join that conversation there today. We also have a blog and a newsletter that you can sign up for. And so please do connect with us. We also have a Twitter at ltcillinois.org, and our website is ltcillinois.org as well. Thank you for attending. If there are any more questions, I would be happy to answer those. You do have access to this slide deck so for you to copy there in Google Slides and save for yourself if you'd like to at that bit.ly link. I can be reached at an email of mfiscus@ltcillinois.org. And you can follow me at Twitter at Fiscus29. I made a promise this morning to our marketing and social media guy that I would embrace Twitter this year. So please follow me there and I will try to do my best. Brian, did we have any more questions?
None that I see at this time.
All right. If anybody has any more, there is a chat comment. Okay.
Oh, that was me.
So you've got some weather issues going on. So if we lose Brian and we lose the session, it's not his fault, it's the weather. A big thank you goes out to Courtney on our ILTPP team as well for my new logos this year. I don't know if you noticed the little E for ERate. These are fiber strands coming out. So pretty proud of the design that she has designed for us. We will be continuing that logo year after year and changing our theme. This year's theme for 2021 is the year of opportunities, taking a positive spin on what we've all been through in the last year.
All right, with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up for the day. Awesome, Mindy, thank you.
All right, thank you guys, and have a great Veterans Day. Thank you to all our veterans.
All right.